All right, so we're recording. Give me 1 second. You gonna stay in or you going out? You gonna go upstairs? Gotta get my dog upstairs.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah. Usually she sits on the couch and sleeps, but now she's like at my foot looking at me like, I gotta go out. All right, let's rock and roll. Hey guys, welcome to my Disney Brain. This week on the show, we're going to be talking with Ruby from Ruby's Best Life, and we're going to be talking about cruising, specifically the new rollout for the Disney Wish. So stick around. Hey guys, welcome to the show. This is Kelly. I'm your host, and we've got a really special show planned for you today, especially if you're excited and looking forward to getting back on a cruise ship. Today, we're joined by our favorite guest, Ruby from Ruby's Best Life.
Hi.
And hey, Ruby, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm really glad to have you back. I've been excited about, as you know, this discussion about the new ship. I'm always excited about ships, and new ships are better than old ships. I guess we get more excited about that. And we just had a rollout a few days ago with the Disney Wish. And as I was thinking about this, I thought about the types of vacations that I have had the best times. Like, what types of vacations do I love the most? Now, let's take away the fact that we all love to be in the parks. Okay. Right. So there's that. We all love to be in the parks. But other than that, the thing that cruising does is cruising brings families together, from a stateroom standpoint, from a dining standpoint, entertainment standpoint. We're usually doing things together on the cruise ship. The cruise ship advantage is it's all inclusive. So, you're on board outside of soda and alcohol. A lot of times, everything is already paid for. So you can let the kids go. You can go. Everything's great. I mean, of course, they've got some upscale dining, and we'll talk a little bit about that as well. But in terms of vacations themselves, there are very few places you can go in the States that are all inclusive. You pay one price when you get there, you're done, your tab's already good, and you can just go and relax and have a good time. In addition to that, I was thinking about the multiple places that you get to visit on one vacation. No other vacations that way unless you're driving, flying to multiple cities and destinations. When you go on a cruise ship, you're getting to go to multiple different ports. You're getting to travel to different islands, different places that normally, if you just flew to Cancun, or if you just flew to Cancun's bad example, but if you just flew to Cozumel, or if you flew down to
Cayman Islands.
Cayman. I was trying to think Cayman because Cayman's my favorite. It would Cayman, right? It would just be Cayman. Then you would come back to your city of origin. But when you go on a cruise, you can choose from the 3-night, the 4-night, the 5, the 7, or even the longer transatlantics, which you've done. And that's another benefit to a cruise because you get to see multiple destinations at the same time. And also, and the last thing I had written down here was the ship. The ship itself is usually a destination.
Yes.
And we saw all of that right in the rollout for the Wish. It was pretty awesome.
Yes.
What were your first thoughts as this was being rolled out? We got introduced to the cruise director first in Disney fashion. And she sort of kind of took us around the ship. But what were your first thoughts? Because I know you love cruising as much as anyone. Your first thoughts?
Yes. My first thoughts were all about food in the kids club, and they did not disappoint. And I thought it was so cool the way that they rolled it out in a very interactive way. I watched it with my 2 boys, and having the fairy godmother there, kind of using magic to go through all the different places on the boat, and then also having chefs and folks that lead that area of the boat speaking on the thought process behind it and then what the result was really great. I thought that Disney did an amazing job rolling it out. And we've all been waiting on pins and needles for a couple years now to see what this boat's going to look like. So I think they did a great job.
Yeah. Yeah. We know that obviously the ship is not going to be ready to go until 2022. Mm-hmm. So there's that. But as they stated several times during this rollout, you can begin the book now.
Starting May, I think it's the 17th or the 18th. I look to see. I can't book until like the 27th, I think, or the 26th. Mm-hmm. So hopefully there's still room. I actually am really trying to get on that first 5-day maiden voyage because that's the longest period. Yeah, the other ones are 3 and 4 day cruises, and it's kind of like they trade off. But you know me, I like a long cruise. So if I can get on that 5-day, I'm going to get on that 5-day. I'm going to be there.
Well, you know what? It's almost like I tell people all the time. Now, my first cruise was a Disney cruise. I've been on all the top brands, the big three. Let's just call it the big three. But I think I did it in the wrong order.
Yeah, because that's a high bar right there, Kelly.
Yeah, I started off with Disney, and then I went to the others, and I always found myself comparing them.
Sorry, 1 second. I knew this was going to happen. Hold on.
Okay.
So sorry.
That's okay. You're fine.
Okay, sorry.
You're good. We'll just pick back up. I was just saying, I always found myself comparing the other cruise ships and the cruise lines to Disney. Mm-hmm. And in some cases, let's say, for example, with food, I found some places very comparable, comparable to that. I even found some staterooms comparable. But what I could not find comparable was the entertainment. Mm-hmm. And I've been on some really nice cruises.
Yes.
But the entertainment, and I think I told you this before, I fancy, when I'm on a cruise, I fancy this dinner and the show thing. I get all dressed up as we do. And then we have this fantastic meal, and then we're off to a show. Mm-hmm. Man, it was so fantastic on the Disney ship. But I got to tell you, I really ran into some stinkers on some of the others. And it just didn't make for that whole well-rounded piece that Disney provides. Mm-hmm. In addition to that, and we're going to get into it, we'll probably just jump into it now. In addition to that, what you mentioned before, because when I went on Disney cruise ship, I had little ones at that time. Mm-hmm. I think my son was under 5. And so the Disney Kids Clubs were very important to us. Yes. And I know that's one of the things that kind of caught your attention. So why don't we start there? Why don't we start with what we saw as a reaction to the unveiling of the Disney Wish? And let's start with the Disney Kids Clubs.
Yes, that's so as you. Sorry, again. Please go. It's coming. I'm gonna get it after I'm done with this, okay? Okay, I'm gonna get it after this, okay? If you don't come back and let me film, then we'll go get it today, okay? Deal? Thank you. Yes, okay. So for me, because I started cruising when me and my husband first started dating, and then now being married with small children, the kids club is the most important thing to me because I feel I have mom guilt if I drop my kids off, and it's like I've been on a bunch of different boats and they have the little rooms, or like it just looks boring, and I'm having like a blast on the boat. I don't feel good about that. So the kids club is really important, and Disney they have always done an amazing job with utilizing an entire deck for the kids club, and they've done the same thing here. So the first thing they did is they mentioned they have a slide to enter into the kids club. So that was really cool.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're going to clean it, but they have so that was really nice because, like some kids get shy about being in essentially care and away from their parents. So that's like a nice way to kind of make them feel happy about going to the kids club and having like adventure. But with the opening of Avengers Campus in Disneyland and all the hype around that, I thought it was really awesome that they're really continuing with that. I think it's Avengers training.
Avengers training camp. What do they call it, camp or something like that? Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that
only the younger kids were supposed to be able to attend.
3 to 12, Superhero Academy. That's what it's called.
The Academy, yeah.
Superhero Academy, and they did emphasize that so what stood out to me is your children cannot have the opportunity to go to Wakanda. So I'm really curious. They showed us a little tidbit of it, and even in the commercial, they did emphasize Black Panther. And on the website, there's like pictures of the Black Panther suit. So I'm very excited about that. Just having that superhero experience. And they have like Star Wars cruises and Marvel cruises where you can like have this really in-depth experience, but Disney is very good to the kids. They will bring the characters into the kids club, and with increased emphasis, I think they'll have more superheroes that come in there. So that's amazing, and I'm so excited about that for my children.
Yeah, that's a huge selling point because Disney's all about family. And I know when we went, my son especially was like, "Oh no, I'm good. Like you guys go. I want to hang out here." And one night we came to pick him up, and I think like Cinderella, someone was actually reading them a bedtime story. It was really awesome. But just as some level of context, when we went, this was early on in Disney cruising. So Disney only had about 2 or 3 ships at this point. So they were the smaller ships. So the Magic and the Wonder are the 2 smaller ones. And then, of course, the Dream and the Fantasy are the 2 larger. Am I missing any of the other?
No, that's it. And then the Wish will be the next one, which I believe is comparable to the Fantasy and the Dream, but a little bit bigger, actually.
About that. Okay, a little bit bigger. And even though some of the other ships we've gone on, we went on a really massive Carnival cruise, very, very new ship that just came off his maiden voyage. Wonderful ship. But still, when it came to entertainment, I felt like it was lacking. So I want to kind of talk a little bit about what we experienced first that made it so great for us when we took our initial cruise, Disney Cruise and entertainment, and then about what's going on with the Wish. I remember having dinner, and one of the selling points of Disney's is different than the other cruise lines as well. If you don't know this, is that your dining crew really travels with you. So you dine in different restaurants every night, or at least we did at that time. And I think that is still part of the core experience. And then you get to know these folks and they get to know you, and you sort of, build up a camaraderie with them. But as it relates to the entertainment, after dining, we were always, or at least I was always confident. I was always confident that there was going to be a really good show. One night we saw like Beauty and the Beast, and I think the last night we saw what was equivalent to the Oscars, but it was done in Disney fashion. Yeah. And so there was red carpet. Everyone was asked to wear their black tie or their, dress up. And they had photographers out. I'll never forget this because they were asking, they were, how paparazzi does to celebrities. They were sort of mimicking that on the ship. And as you were walking into the theater, you were able to take pictures with your family and so forth. And it was such a really well recreated experience. And then ultimately the show itself was just what Disney does. I mean, music, dancing, art, lights, camera action. It was really all of that. And when we saw the rollout here for the Wish, the Walt Disney Theater looks like a place that we're going to be able to get more of the same. And I got to tell you, for me, it may not, I don't know, maybe I'm just in a small group, or maybe it's just me. But when I think about booking a cruise, yes, I'm going to love going to the ports of call. I swim, but I have a pool, so water's not that big a deal for me. I love the beaches, but that's not why I'm getting on the ship. The food, well, you know me, I'm plant-based, so I'm not going to be eating a whole lot of craziness. And I'm not a big drinker, but for me, I love to be entertained, and I love to be confident that the entertainment is going to be good. And I've never really felt confident, quite honestly, outside of when I'm either in Disney parks or at the on the Disney cruise ships.
Yeah.
And so I feel good about the quality of entertainment. You can have a good meal, and then you can go down to the Walt Disney Theater, and you're able to really be entertained. And to me, that rounds out the night for me. And usually after that, we sort of walk on deck and just figure out whatever we're going to do next. It's not even a big deal. But the dinner and the entertainment, for me, is a big deal. And it needs to be consistent. It needs to be consistent.
I totally agree with you. And I think also when you think of in terms of value, have you ever gone to a Disney show like at the theater or at the orchestra? Outside of
I have not. My kids have, my wife, but I have not.
Okay. So I've seen specifically actually Aladdin twice. And I think we paid, you know, if you get a good seat, you're paying like $100 to like $80 a ticket. So if that for a family of four, could be up to $400, could be more depending on the day that you're going and when you're going. So that's another aspect of it. The value you get in the entertainment. And then also Disney is known like as a production company to do these super elaborate performances, just like you're saying, like even having like the cast outside so you can photograph later. So I'm on board with you. Their entertainment is top tier.
It really is. And it makes a difference. Bless your heart. We're gonna let him be on the next time. Tell him that.
I know he wants to be a star. Okay, please close the door. Thank you. Right here. I don't know, Ezra. Please close it. Thank you.
But yeah, it really makes a difference. The type of entertainment. I can tell you the trepidation I had, not to exaggerate this, but I was on this really big, nice cruise ship for Carnival. Everything had checked out. And I just had my fingers crossed that after this great dinner we're going to go see this awesome show. Mm-hmm. And it just wasn't awesome.
Yeah.
It just wasn't. And I came back the next night and I thought, well, maybe it was just that crew. It just wasn't awesome. They had a great cruise director. We had so much fun on that ship, but I literally stopped going to the shows after dinner because I just didn't want that experience. We started doing different things. So I'm positive I won't have to worry about that with being on the Disney ship, because we didn't. And we don't have to worry about it at the parks, quite honestly. And I can't wait for some of that stuff to come back as these actors come back. And just pubbing one of our podcasts, we did maybe a week or so ago when we talked about the news, we were talking about the Lion King finally coming back this month to Animal Kingdom. Yeah. So I'm really happy for that group of actors. I'm really happy because Lion King is one of our favorites. Yes. It's one of our absolute favorites. So that's how I feel about the entertainment. And just so you guys know, we're going to post on our Facebook page the link to the virtual rollout for the Wish. So you can replay it at your leisure and just kind of see what we're talking about here and go through the entirety of the video to just see some of the illustrations, the photos, and some of the video itself, to be able to demonstrate what we're talking about. So make sure you head on over to our Facebook page when the podcast is done and check out the video.
Absolutely.
So Ms. Ruby, what do we have next for you? What are your
dining? I want to talk about dining.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, so one thing, like you mentioned, with the staff that support you during the dining experience and they travel with you to the restaurants, I haven't heard of a set of restaurants that I was excited for more than this boat. On the Wonder and also the Magic, I absolutely loved Rapunzel's restaurant and I loved Tiana's place.
Right.
We also loved Animator's Palette, which is on
I was going to say, yeah.
This is the first time we're not going to have Animator's Palette on a Disney cruise ship, so that's different. But I have never super loved the Titans restaurant on the Disney Wonder was fine, like it was good, but not really that amazing in comparison to the other two. But it seems like Disney really is knocking it out of the park with their 3 dining experiences. So they have Anna and Elsa. They are going to get their own restaurant with Norwegian inspired food. And I don't know if they've actually had Norwegian food, so I'm not sure what to expect in the food front, but the way that they've done those immersive restaurant experiences, I'm sure it's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
And then
you may not even be able to concentrate on the food. I mean, you go to the website, you see the pictures. It looks really awesome.
Yeah. And that's,
they're calling it Arendelle.
Huh? Go ahead. Arendelle?
Yeah, they're calling it Arendelle. Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be so great. And again, with small kids, I don't know if your kids did this, but my kids would act up. And a lot of times I would come into the restaurant and then me and my husband would take turns, like basically leaving and walking them around until the appetizer came, until the food came, because the entertainment in the restaurants, let's take Carnival, for example, was usually towards dessert or after food came. So in between, they were super bored. But on Disney, they've always done a really good job of like continually entertaining the children so that you could actually sit at your table the whole time. And this is not going to be any different. They're going to knock it out of the park. I already know it with that restaurant.
Yeah, they're calling it a theatrical dining experience.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So then, and just real quickly, so they have the Avengers. So they did mention in the Kids Club some of the experiences are going to be exclusive for the children. So maybe this is the adults' way of getting a little bit of this Marvel dining experience. And then also the third one is called 1923. It's an old Hollywood-inspired restaurant, and I'm hoping that it's similar to the exclusive Club 33 experience. I've eaten there before. Yeah, and
that's exactly what I thought of.
So I'm kind of like, oh my gosh, are they trying to like take that and bring it to the boat? Like that's major. So yeah, restaurants, amazing. They look amazing.
Well, we know that the food quality is superb. I will agree with you, especially on the 1923 piece. I love speakeasies. I love that era, prohibition, that sort of thing. I don't know, maybe a past life, I don't know. But when I see this, and you guys we're going to put the link to the Disney Wish also on their website on our Facebook page, so you can kind of skim through and see some of the illustrations, because some of it's hard to describe, like what Ruby is talking about as it relates to the theatrical dining experience with Arendelle. To see the stage and to see the seating, the just area that you're going to be in is exciting to just know that that's going to be on the ship. It's like being in the park. It's like going from attraction to attraction, except some have food and some don't. It just really is that awesome. But you hit the nail on the head with the 1923. It looks super adult. It doesn't look like, I don't know if kids are going to be able to go in there or not. It doesn't really say, but it does put you in the mind of a speakeasy of that Club 33, although I've never been inside. I've heard wonderful, wonderful things. It talks about evoking the glitz and the glamour of old Hollywood. One of the reasons why I love Hollywood Studios so much is because of that. I'm a big movie buff. I've shot movies. I've watched movies. I've loved movies since I was a kid. Anything about Hollywood, anything about shooting movies, I absolutely love. And this is what this dining experience is going to have. You're going to be sitting in among storyboards, sketches, similar to what Ruby we did when we sit in Animator's Palette. We were surrounded with art. We were just, really taken aback at the artwork when we came into the restaurant to see all of those sketches and different things. And then over time, how they illuminated with color. And then by the end of your meal, of course, they're full color and almost animated. So I think we're going to see some of the same types of technology, just used in a different sort of theatrical way.
Yeah.
But I'm excited about it too.
And I'm thinking so 1923 is like their formal restaurant because they have the formal free restaurants. And then Paulo, and that's actually my third thing that I'm super interested in. It's kind of a mix with the adult experience on a Disney cruise. I think some people don't realize there actually is adult experience on a Disney cruise. They have an adults area, and Paulo, it's like a remix to Paulo because the food seems a little bit different. And then it's like French inspired. And then there's another one, I don't know the name off the top, but it's supposed to be from Beauty and the Beast type era. Food.
Okay.
Yeah. And those are experiences.
Yeah, the Paulo and the adult only areas are obviously available as well. I've never eaten at the Paulo. Normally we just kind of stick with the family dining. Have you and your husband ever been able to do it? Maybe or maybe not with the little one, but
Paulo.
Okay.
It says that it's inspired by Disney's Beauty and the Beast, an evolution of the Paulo restaurant that Disney cruisers already know and love. And yes, we were able to eat brunch and dinner on the Wonder and the Magic, and it was absolutely amazing. Food was top tier.
Good.
Sorry, Kelly, someone's ringing the doorbell, so I need to just take a second. I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem.
I'm back. It was the gardener.
Oh.
Yay. It's like the worst. I'm so sorry. Usually when we film, it's during work, during my lunch break or something. So nobody's here, but everybody's here today apparently. Except for my husband.
Mom. You were popular. So that's not a problem. I get it. I just appreciate it. Listen, we can edit anything, so we're good.
Okay.
We, so we were kind of just wrapping up talking about your dining experience with Paulo.
Yeah. I'm a nervous about a remix to Paulo as far as the steakhouse goes, but with Paulo, they've just always had like a higher bar as far as their food quality. And it's also kind of weird because if you're in a large group, they will let you order multiple things. I mean, technically you can, but
Right.
it is kind of like, I think, frowned upon if you like order more than 2 things. So it's different than like dinner where you can order like everything if you want and then have like family style. But it's excellent. Food quality is excellent. And the other restaurant looks okay. I wasn't super excited about that one. I think it's called Enchant or something like that. But
Right.
yeah, Paulo is adult only, so you have to check your kids into the kids club or the nursery or the teen center. And I believe Enchant is the same thing. Enchanting? I hope I'm saying it correctly.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask you the question. I know the answer, but just so our listeners will know. You know how Disney puts on the restaurant on their website, they have like $2 signs or 3 or 5, 5 being like, this is really expensive. So Paulo is how many dollar signs if folks are interested in, because that's separate. That's not included in your your booking. If you want to eat at Paulo, you're going to have to pay separately and out of the pocket. It's like Mickey's Not So Scary. That's the extra ticket.
Yeah, it's like over. It's like $4 signs.
$4 signs.
And I mean, and that's on the legacy boats. I don't know what the Wish price point is going to be. They haven't even released the price points for the cruise dates. I mean, you see the date, but it says pricing not available yet. So I'm like, what are they going to hit us with on this cruise? But
everybody's gonna have a collective heart attack. Yeah.
And it doesn't.
Yeah. It is, and I think folks who we're always having fun with it, but Disney is not inexpensive. No. I don't care if you're talking about going to the parks and eating there, or if you're talking about being on the ship. So just be aware. Just be aware of that and plan accordingly. For us. I love the idea of having something all inclusive. I'll tell you, as opposed to the expense of a meal, I'll tell you what I'm more concerned about the next time I get on Disney Cruise, and that is the variety that's going to be offered to plant-based eaters. When I took my first Disney Cruise, I wasn't plant-based. This was some years ago. But now, when I take my family somewhere, that's always a concern. If we travel anywhere, I've got to be aware of where we can go to dine, because you don't want to be in a situation. I was in a situation a few years ago. I had to go for a funeral in Houston, and we were in a part of Houston that, quite honestly, if I had wanted a rib, I could have swam in ribs, but that's pretty much all that was where I was at the time. And I didn't know that, and I had to get food for my kids and different things like that. And so I just had to make accommodations, but that was really difficult. Now, there are other parts of Houston, just like there are many parts of Atlanta, where plant-based eaters and plant-based restaurants are plenty. But where I was at that time, I was just out of location. I was in what Michelle Obama calls a food desert. So within 7 miles where I was, there was no fresh food. Unfortunately, and that's unfortunately a lot of communities. But on the ship, like in the parks, if you go to any of the festivals, Disney has really gone above and beyond to include plant-based options in all of these Epcot festivals. I watch them really, really closely because, the last couple of times we've gone, we've had to make sure that we were somewhere in Disney Springs or somewhere in the parks where we could get something that's going to accommodate our palate. And so it really gave me a sensitivity to folks who have food allergies and or need to be gluten-free and things like that, what they have to go through. And of course, plant-based and gluten-free, those are two different things, and allergies, completely different things, but still you're having to source out food that's going to work for you and your group. And then is there the diversity in that? Or are you just offering one plate? So what is the value overall if you're a plant-based eater and you're and you're paying premium price to be on the ship, where you've only have a few items that you can actually eat. That's kind of what it's going to come down to for us.
Yeah. And I'm sure that they'll even step it up more with the Wish, because Disney, like, I'm pretty sure I saw on the last menu, it's been like a year and a half now, but their menus have specific vegetarian items, or they'll have an icon there that says it's a vegan option. But you know, even the boat itself, they said this is the first like boat that's going to be ran on like environmentally free fuel. It's not going to be typical oil. So I'm sure that they'll roll out, you know, more options for food and accommodating all different types of people and different types of needs on the cruise. I'm sure they will.
Well, I hope so. If we get more information, guys, we'll bring it to the podcast so that you'll know when we know.
Yeah.
The last thing, Ruby, at least for me, and I didn't say the name of the show at the top, but these are our top 3 things that we're most excited about as we've witnessed the virtual rollout for the Disney Wish. We're giving you our top 3 things that we're most excited about. So far, we've talked about dining, we talked about entertainment, kids club. Ruby and I agree on the dining piece. My last piece, Ruby, is the onboard attraction and the experiences on board. This is away from the kids club. At the time that I went on the Disney cruise, they didn't have like these attractions that are on the top of the, on the top decks with the, I'm struggling to remember what they called them on the Dream and the Fantasy, but they were like the aqueduct type setup.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, they've got one now, and it is the Aqua Mouse. And they say this is different than the other aqueducts that they've had. This is, according to the website, first ever Disney attraction at sea. And it goes all the way around the top deck. It is very similar to what you would see at Blizzard Beach or something like that, with these tube types of water rides, but it's more of a push type situation where you're, traversing through the water. You're over the ship, which means you're over the water. They say it is 760 feet of twisting tubes. So, that looks pretty exciting to have something like that to be on board for kids and adults to enjoy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that does look really cool.
Yeah.
My sister Renee is really into like water slides and water sports. I'll be honest, I'm more of like a keep it cute at the pool. I'll definitely go in there obviously because it's innovative, and I love the Mickey Mouse shorts. They're premiering a new Mickey Mouse short, which I think is awesome. But no, that's like next level. And I think that these boats are getting so competitive with their like water arena and their water sports and their water rides. Like I heard there's a boat that has like a roller coaster coming out too. So this is kind of not exactly that, but it does kind of seem like it. You're like in an inner tube, or you're floating through the tubes watching TVs while you go through this experience. But it looks cool. It looks really awesome.
Yeah. I know with the Wish, the Dream, the Fantasy, all those guys had that big LCD out on the main deck where you can watch movies at night.
Yeah.
That was so great to be able to just kind of lounge out there and watch movies at night. That's probably one of the, I don't know if there was a night that we didn't do it, to be honest with you. We just did it because it was fun. You're under the stars. You can watch some movies. You can lounge on the deck. It was really great.
Yeah, we have our cruise booked for September, which we probably are not going to do this year's. We're probably going to end up canceling, but we have next September booked. And it's the Halloween cruise. And they use those screens and they tell scary, spooky stories like at night. And it's like a pilot that gets on there and tells you these creepy stories. So I didn't actually watch any movies when I was on any of the cruises. Now that I think about it, I think I watched them like when I was in the pool. But I want to do that. I want to like spend a late evening up there and watch some movies or watch this guy talk about ghosts.
Yeah, it was really relaxing because, during the day, how crazy the main deck is. It's like the opposite at night. And you're able to, people are dining or they're eating, they're doing other things. Yeah. And, you can just kind of hang out and just have a pretty, a different experience as the crowds kind of minimize and people start going in or changing or maybe even going to bed. I don't know. But we had some pretty good nights there on that top deck watching some movies. So what's your last thing that you're excited about in terms of this?
Yes.
Wish?
Well, now that my children are both of age, so they're both over the age of 3 and they can be in the kids club, I am really excited to do the adult experience after hours. But specifically, I want to check out that new Star Wars inspired lounge.
Oh, no.
Yeah, let me make sure I get the name right because my mind is fleeting these days. It's called Star Wars Hyperspace Lounge. And again, it's like they're taking the things that have been really successful in the parks and integrating it into the boats. So this is obviously a play on like, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, which has been super successful, and their restaurants. And so I'm super curious to see how they're going to like make drinks or like just make the immersive experience like going on there. And the backdrop in the picture, if you look on the website, is like you're in space. And you know how Disney does it. So I cannot wait to go in there and kind of, maybe they probably won't have the blue milk or the green milk, but maybe they will.
Maybe. You never know.
Right? It's like coconut milk or something. It's vegan. So yeah, I am super excited for that. And then I will admit, I didn't really get to participate in like the after hours adult games or like adult shows that they had. They're supposed to be really good on this boat, and so I'm looking forward to finally having an adult experience in the evenings while my kids maybe watching movies in the kids club or something.
No, I'm with you 100%. And again, I'm going to suggest to our folks who are listening to head over to our Facebook page and take a look at the link. And the Hyperspace Lounge that Ruby is talking about is going to mimic, Star Wars experience. And we talked about it not long ago on the news, maybe it's about 2 weeks ago, that the hotel, the Star Wars Hotel is still on par to open up. And this kind of makes that same sort of impact, where when you look out of a window, like, if you go to the website, you'll see a bartender pouring a drink, and behind them is a big window. The exception is out that window are other planets and spaceships and things like that gives you the feel that you're in space and not on a cruise ship. And that's part of the whole experience. And in addition to that, there are other just really nice, what they're calling quiet cove onboard oases at sea for adults only. And there are some beautiful, beautiful spaces. I mean, one of these spaces kind of reminds me of the California Grill over at the Contemporary. It's just a beautiful space. And Ruby's already talked about Palo. There are these wonderful views out to sea with these huge glass verandas. It is just really, really breathtaking.
Yeah.
We know quality of work that Disney does and how they're able to recreate and create some of these spaces. And Ruby, even the staterooms look upgraded and upscale versus what we've seen in the past.
Yeah, they look really classy. And I honestly was wondering, that's what I was going to say, though. The one thing that Disney could do, who knows if they'll do it, but with all these new hotels and resorts that they've opened and they're themed, they don't really theme the rooms to where like it's all based off of like inside versus ocean view versus veranda versus concierge. Not really like, hey, what about this side is a Star Wars themed room?
Yeah.
An event themed room. They haven't done that, which I'm surprised. But that being said, yes, the rooms look really beautiful and they seem like they're a little bit more spacious. And in general, Disney's rooms on a cruise ship are way more spacious than you would get on some of the other cruise lines, especially that double bathroom. That's a game changer right there.
You can book the family staterooms now where it sleeps up to 5-6 people, I think. And they have the double bathroom and they have the space in the room to fit. I've gone on cruises before and my daughter, my kids were teenagers, but my youngest daughter was probably still under 10. Well, she was still under 10. And we had a little trepidation. We had to get two rooms, one for me and my wife and one for the kids, but it wasn't a connecting room. It was like literally next door, but it didn't connect.
Yeah.
And I said, I kept thinking, man, what if she gets up and wanders out the room or something, But we went on an additional cruise where we did get a family stateroom. Much better experience.
Yeah.
Much better experience to have the security of knowing everyone's in the room and everyone's secure and these sort of things. So if you have a family of 5, and especially if you have small kids, to be able to have the double or what feels like double occupancy in that family stateroom is tremendous. The 2 bathrooms suggesting that 2 people can be getting ready at the same time or have to use facilities at the same time. It doesn't really matter. It just was a much better experience. And I think Disney has an entire deck of those rooms, or at least they did on one of the ships that's available because their primary end users are families.
Yes. And they've also introduced their first 2-story room. It literally looks like a house. Like it's like a living room, like a staircase, and there's like a loft up there. So they're really.
We can't wait till the pricing comes out on that.
Yeah. And free tip for everybody: if you do have like a large group, a family, or let's say you're on a girls' trip, go use the spa to get ready. Like just take your bag up there and go use the spa, because I didn't have it as one of my top things, but the Disney spa is like amazing. You can buy like a pass to get experiences with like their shower rooms. I think they're called like rainforest rooms or something, where like you can take showers and there's like specific smells and the water type is different. But in general, just like if you're in a room with a lot of people, go to the spa and get ready if you don't think you have enough space in the room. That's just a random tip I like to tell people.
That's a great tip. That's a great tip. That's a great tip. Anything else, Ruby, that you want to share? Those are our top 3 things. We're just excited. What are your thoughts? And I know you and I have talked about this, and we can give the Cliff Note versions of what we talked about. But as it relates to cruising, what's the latest? What's the scoop? I mean, when can people realistically begin to think they're going to actually get on the boats? And what are some of the protocols that we think that are going to have to be in place in order for that to happen?
Yeah. So the CDC had released a while back a 4-phase approach to cruising. The first couple phases were very specific to the boat itself, being able to do testing, being able to have the crew tested and mitigating if COVID were to have an outbreak. So once they released that, several cruise lines sent letters to the CDC saying, okay, well, based off of what you've put out there, I think I'm ready to go. And you have to submit like a conditional sail order 60 days before you plan to do your first cruise. And so a lot of cruise lines were like, yep, I'm ready to go. I'm going to have everybody vaccinated. I'd like to submit my paperwork. So the CDC has come back and they've actually reduced parts of the phasing to make it a little bit easier. There was one thing that they wanted to do, which was force the cruise lines to do a mock cruise before they actually started taking guests. They got rid of that. So that being said, it might happen this summer. I was really not thinking it was going to happen until like September, but we might see some August US based cruises, maybe late July. But if people want their cruise itch, I did talk about this on my last video as well. Disney has announced that they are doing staycations or cruises to nowhere on Magic, but it's out of the UK. So there's a few cruise lines that are doing cruising from the Bahamas right now. So you could go on a Royal Caribbean cruise if you want to fly to the Bahamas. But from the US, I would say August.
August. Okay. Guys, you have to go and check out Ruby's YouTube channel. I say this every time we have Ruby on, but she does the greatest videos and they're very informative. Just what you just heard. I guarantee you not more than 25% of you guys knew that. And people wonder about what's going to happen, but that's pretty much what they're doing. And sometimes people don't know where to go to get information. I'm telling you, if you like cruising and you want to know about Disney Cruise, and if you want to know about cruising in general, Ruby does a great job of providing the information in a very understandable fashion. And it's good information. It's from CDC. It is from the cruise lines themselves, and it's very organized, and it's not very long. You can educate yourself on what you need to do and how you need to prepare. And so you can find Ruby on her Instagram at Ruby's_best_life. Ruby's with an S, RUBYS_best_life. And Ruby, I think your YouTube page is the same thing, right?
my YouTube is exactly the same. If you type that in, you'll find my page and my channel. And I really appreciate that. I try to make really informative videos, good content. And also, I want my videos to be things that can live on. Like you could watch them a couple years from now and they'd still be relevant. Yeah, I'm super excited about cruising. I'm so glad to have been able to come on here and talk to you about the Wish, because you and I have talked about how excited we are for it. So yeah, I can't wait, and I'm really hoping I can get on the maiden sailing next June.
Well, so I got my fingers crossed for you. I got my fingers crossed for you, as I always do. And this is another show, but I'm just telling you, I'm going to try and figure out a way that we can connect this year. Ruby, for you guys who don't know, is on the West Coast. I'm on the East Coast. Yeah. But we both have trips planned to Walt Disney World. And so they're very close in timing. And I'm going to try and work it to where I can be flexible and be in the parks the same time that you are. I'm still working on that. So
that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I just wanted to let you know. I'm going to try and work it out. We're gonna meet this year. Yes. So we'll in person, I should say. So in person.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. And listen, Ruby's going to be back soon, and we're going to be talking about more great Disney content as we always do. Please, again, make sure you go over and check her out on Instagram. Follow her on Instagram at Ruby's Best Life, Ruby's_best_life. And if you're not following us here at My Disney Brain, you should be. Follow us, like, subscribe, and share. Share with your family and friends. There's so many people that are looking for information on how to plan, how to go to Walt Disney World. Why? Because so much has changed since the last time you've gone. And if you like hotel reviews and just good information on different things, Ruby has a plethora of that on her YouTube page as well. So you can't go wrong. I would subscribe to both and make sure you're empowered and educated on all of the above. Miss Ruby, thank you so much again for being on the show. And we're going to have you back very, very soon. And guys, thank you guys for listening. So thank you, Ruby.
Thank you so much for having me. Bye, everybody. Awesome.
Well, that was good. That was good.
Sharing with me and my kids. Now I got to buy them Legos.
It's okay. It's okay. Right. Little people need their mom. Little people need their mom. I'm very understanding. So go ahead and tend to. I kind of picture them waiting right outside the door, like.
Oh no, they're right there. I'm muted sometimes. So
no, it's okay. I'll have this edited. It'll be up sometime tomorrow.
Sounds good. I'm gonna post that we recorded, so I'll point them to the podcast.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you. All right, and we'll talk soon. Let's put together a little schedule there for our next day. And like always, I look forward to working with you again.
Yeah, I think I want to talk about Disney Plus. Loki's supposed to come out pretty soon. I think it's June.
Yeah. June the 11th, I think, was the date. And then there's another movie maybe I got them mixed up. What's the movie with the fish kids?
Oh, Luca.
Luca. Yeah.
When does that come
out? Yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to that too. Yeah. But I want the Loki piece. Yeah, I'm with you on the Falcon deal. I was going to do a review on that. But then I said, you know what?
Yeah.
Let's just move on. There's so much on Disney Plus. So just let me know. The Disney Plus goes up on Fridays. So we can do that. Even if we did it on a Tuesday, we could hold it to Friday to post it. Yeah. Whatever day works for you.
Yeah. And I'm trying to think like it's recommendations, right? So
yeah, usually we do 3 recommendations for that weekend. We choose different groups, either, animation, long, shorts, whatever, classics, stuff from the vault. We did series. The last time we did series, like what series would you binge? And we went through like Pirates and Frozen and different series that you can find on Disney Plus.
Cars is super fun. My kids, they have shorts on there. So my kids get into that. We'll watch that before bedtime. Yeah, I think I want to be on one of your Disney Plus ones. I think there's a few things that we talk about. I don't know yet, but let's definitely text and talk about it. What we could talk about. About like 20 times. All right, Kelly. We'll have a
See you later. Thank you so much, Ruby.
Be so late.
Be well. All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye.